Justin Baldoni's lawyer claps back. Bryan Freedman is clearing the air and explaining what really is going on with Justin Baldoni's lawsuit. I'm Lauren Conlin, and welcome to Los Angeles Magazine. This is your daily pop culture, scandal, and crime news. All right, let's talk this out because I got quite a few comments yesterday, but I also want to point out that when I was delivering this news that the lawsuit was officially closed by a judge, I kept saying there's got to be something more to this because Bryan Freedman is a really reputable attorney and it doesn't seem like his team would just miss a deadline out of the blue. So, yeah, on paper, sure, that lawsuit might be done, but the twist is Bryan Freedman said they chose not to refile on purpose. So the decision was strategic, according to Bryan Freedman, and he told Page Six, quote, "We remain fully committed to pursuing the truth through every legal and factual avenue available." So basically, they are planning to appeal this dismissal rather than start over, hoping to challenge the judge's ruling directly. So just going back, this comes after Judge Lyman ruled that Lively's statements, including her accusations of harassment and retaliation on the film set, were legally protected as part of a court proceeding. So that means Baldoni couldn't sue her for defamation because those comments were made through the proper legal channels. So basically, in simpler terms, what is said in court stays in court. So let's rewind just for a second again. This all started with Blake Lively's lawsuit against Baldoni back in late 2024 when she accused him of sexual harassment, retaliation, and creating a toxic work environment while they were filming on the set of It Ends With Us. Also, two crew members reportedly backed her claims, saying that the atmosphere on set was, quote, emotionally coercive. Justin Baldoni has denied everything, calling the allegations false and defamatory. So again, even though Baldoni's countersuit is dismissed, Blake Lively's case is against him is still active, and that one is heading for trial in March of 2026. So his side just seems to be regrouping a bit. I knew that there was more to this. He is fighting for his reputation. He's got the legal team and he's got the funding to keep this going. So Baldoni's lawyer, Bryan Freedman, again, I will just actually pull up the Page Six article. Oh, crap. Gosh, I am so bad. I just X'd off of it. I'm going to pull up the Page Six article with Bryan Freedman's, with his quote and everything. Okay, let's see if we can see this. There we go. I'm just going to read part of this to you. Justin Baldoni is making it clear that his legal battle against Blake Lively isn't over. Despite his recent countersuit closure, his attorney, Bryan Freedman, tells Page Six that Baldoni and Wayfair Studios, they intentionally opted out to not file an amended complaint. Again, I said that and I was thinking that. He said no deadlines were missed. Our client chose not to amend their complaint to preserve appeal rights. Okay. So at this time, it's unclear, though, whether Baldoni and Wayfair Studios intend to file an appeal, but they wanted that to be known to all of us. And again, that makes so much more sense to me completely. Let's go to a girl on YouTube I found. I like this little short video that she shared as well. And again, I also just want to say, I do try to clearly put out factual information, which is why yesterday, if you listen to the entire podcast, I know there were some comments saying, you don't know this case, XYZ. No, I do follow the case. I mean, I 100% follow the case. However, his team didn't say anything at that point. And I knew that something was weird. But all right, let's play this video.
Well, it's about time Bryan Freedman fires back. The legal battle between Justin and Blake is not over. Hallelujah. Finally, all the news outlets are correctly reporting what actually happened. As soon as legacy media reports the actual truth that the lawsuit isn't over, she starts crashing out on Instagram. Media reports about a missed deadline are misleading, as he explains why his team chose not to amend the $400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively. Next steps are part of a planned legal strategy, people. The delay was intentional to preserve appeal rights. Bryan Freedman coming in guns a-blazing, and he says, quote, "At this point, we have to set the record straight. No deadlines were missed. Our clients chose not to amend their complaint to preserve appeal rights. In the meantime, we are focusing on Ms. Lively's claims. We remain fully committed to pursuing the truth through every legal and factual avenue available, and look forward to our day in court." And then there's this weird part about a $250 million harassment complaint against the director. I don't know where that number came from. If somebody knows, please let me know. That's the first time I'm hearing that number. Well, it's about time
Okay, let
Bryan
me
Freedman
stop this
fires
for a
back.
minute. So I'm going to just go ahead and tell you what I think is going to happen. So a lot of the time, or I shouldn't say a lot of the time, but sometimes I guess you can go to court and you can lose or you can win your case. And I think at this point, Baldoni, when Bryan Freedman says we look forward to our day in court, he is looking forward to a jury not finding Justin Baldoni liable or responsible for any of Blake Lively's claims. And then once the jury comes back with that verdict, I think that's when Bryan Freedman and Justin Baldoni will then push forth another lawsuit or appeal. That's what I think. I think that he wants that type of I don't want to say proof, but he wants that type of closure, that type of he needs that type of verdict to just push his lawsuit forward. I mean, it's interesting because you can kind of compare this in a way to the Fat Joe hype man lawsuit and then counter defamation lawsuit. Because again, once the hype man put forth his lawsuit, Fat Joe immediately clapped back and sued him back. And, that's still on the table. So I find all of this incredibly fascinating. And I said, this is why I am going to jump back in and start to follow the Lively and Baldoni case very, very closely again. I mentioned that I was following it at the beginning. Like I couldn't take my eyes off of it because something new was coming out every day and it involved very high profile celebrities like Taylor Swift. And then after a while, it just became very much, I don't want to say, it was just, a lot of just conferences and motions and deadlines. And it just kind of lost my interest a bit. But I will say it has now piqued my interest. So I'll be following that. And again, I want, since I am in New York, I do want to attend hearings in the Southern District. I think a few of them we have been able to, or before this happened, I think months ago, we were able to call in and just sort of listen on the line. But I want to attend this. I really do. And a lot of the time, you're not going to see the plaintiffs or the defendant at a lot of the civil suit status hearings, which is fine. I still am fascinated by the attorneys, by the arguments and whatnot. So anyway, I wanted to clear the air. I wanted to make sure that I did have the most accurate information about this case. And also, I want to plug something that I took part of. If you subscribe to Fox Nation, I was part of the documentary that they did on the case, and it's called "It Didn't End With Us." So you can find that. And there's a lot of lawyers and legal experts, as well as myself, breaking down the case from the beginning, going through the allegations and kind of talking about both sides and their stance. But I find it really interesting whenever legal experts weigh in because I just love hearing the knowledge they have and the experience they have, in cases like this. So anyway, clearing the air. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with more Los Angeles Magazine's daily pop culture scandals and crime news.